Hi, everybody. I'm going to run through the practicalities because I know that we're running a bit late and we want to finish on time. But first of all, thank you, Claire. It's brilliant that you're with us today and helping to steer us through what's a lively programme. And it's so brilliant that you're all here today to join us for the launch of the London Borough of Culture. That is why you're here, right? Yeah, good. So we've been developing this programme over the last 12 months. And as we've been developing the programme and talking to many of you in the room, whether you're a local authority or a cultural organisation and funders as well, as Justine mentioned, we've had such a positive response and received such great feedback on the programme. So we're confident that it's going to be really amazing. And I'm just going to start I've got a little presentation, hopefully. Yeah, so I just wanted to start with Vivienne Westwood, icon of style, who said, "There's nowhere else like London, nothing at all, anywhere." We are a great cultural city, probably the greatest. We have extraordinary history and heritage. We're a city full of quirky stories and tall tales, iconic buildings and structures and amazing open spaces. Our art scene is second to none. We've got some of the best theatres and festivals and museums and galleries in the world. And we're becoming a 24-hour city with our music scene and our nightlife, a magnet for young people from across the globe. And in the city, over 300 languages are spoken, and I think we've probably got a restaurant for every cuisine from around the world. And people come to live here and work here because we're such a multicultural city, and more so than ever for our enormous community spirit. So as the Mayor mentioned earlier, there's no better time for us to be investing in a cultural programme like this that can excite, celebrate, and inspire communities across London to be bold and ambitious and to create programmes that really help to strengthen our communities and create some new histories that everybody can participate in. So before I run through the nuts and bolts of the programme, I just wanted to quickly thank a few people who have been really instrumental in the recent months for putting this programme together. So first of all, I wanted to thank our Strategic Partners Board. So that's Moira Sinclair from Paul Hamlin, Stuart Hobley from HLF, Joyce Wilson from the Arts Council, Nick Bodger from City of London, and Jack Joslin, who's been with us on the City Bridge Trust, Sally Bacon from the Claude Duffield Foundation, Anthony Hopkins, who's been representing the Society of Chief Librarians, and Graham and Rebecca from Historic England, and of course Diana Neal from London Councils. They've really helped us to shape what this programme will be and to put together, I think what you'll agree, is a very beautiful prospectus. And finally, just our partners at the City of London, so Nick and all of your colleagues from the Barbican Museum of London, the London Metropolitan Archives, Guildhall Gallery, all of you in the city, thank you so much. Finally, I just wanted to talk about my colleagues internally. One of the things that the Mayor has really encouraged us to do since he came in May last year is to work across our teams, not to work within our teams. And so I wanted to thank colleagues from the GLA, TfL and London and Partners who've been part of planning the programme, bringing their knowledge and expertise from a range of fields to ensure that this programme can speak as widely as possible to local authorities, local services and policy teams. Sadiq has encouraged this collaboration, and now we're embedding, through the culture team, we're embedding culture in every strategy that's coming out of City Hall, which is such an exciting opportunity. So it's brilliant sitting around a table with all of these great colleagues, feeding in learning to the programme from colleagues in transport, regeneration, skills, planning, health, tourism, education, you name it. They're all involved, so thank you to all of them. So, I'm going to move on to just outline where the vision has come from. So we all witnessed the excitement and the delight of London 2012 and the extraordinary Cultural Olympiad programme that was put on across the city. But in 2013, we started to ask questions really about how we could continue to ensure that we're ambitious with culture across the city. to really think about how we can continue to ensure this ambition. How do we continue to support grassroots cultural programs to be bold and ambitious? How do we continue to celebrate the amazing stories that we all have to tell? And how do we keep the spotlight firmly on places around Greater London and continue to be local and global at the same time? So we were delighted when Sadiq's Manifesto for Culture outlined plans for the London Borough of Culture. It's a chance to really throw a spotlight onto our communities, our suburbs, and the rich range of stories that we all have to tell. And I think one of the things that inspired Sadiq was very much the European Capital of Culture and the programs that has inspired, including the UK City of Culture, which began in 2013. Mainly, I suppose, initially thinking about the broad range of economic benefits that these programs can bring, especially around tourism and inward investment, employment, regeneration. But I think through the discussions we've been having over the last year with colleagues from Liverpool and the European Capital of Culture programme itself, we've realised that the vision is much more about how we can bring people together and celebrate and strengthen our communities. At a time of really unparalleled global change, people need this more than ever. And they want these opportunities to come together, to be active and to lead amazing programs together across their communities. And I think you'll have seen, a lot of you, through some of the great programs like Creative People and Places and Great Places, the new program led by the Arts Council and HLF and Historic England. We've seen the focus on culture's role in communities and placemaking. We recently commissioned BOP to develop a research document to highlight some of the amazing social outcomes that cultural activity delivers across our communities. And actually, there wasn't a huge amount of this research out there, but the research that was out there was just quite incredible. And anecdotally, we often hear people say that culture can transform people's lives, but we really wanted to understand, what does that mean and how do we explain that to other people? And so the research really outlines some exemplary case studies and proves the incredible impacts that the work of artists and cultural activity can have in making people's lives better, bringing in entertainment and joy, inspiring change and providing hope. So we're going to be publishing this research on our website in July, and we'll let you know about it, but I'm hoping that you'll all take some real inspiration from that. And just finally, I wanted to say that we see London as a city of cities. As you all know, our London boroughs are as big, if not bigger, than many of Europe and the UK's winning cities. But many people still don't participate in the offer that we have, mainly because they live and work locally, and maybe there's not a huge amount on their doorstep, or maybe there are other barriers for them that they face in their lives. So London Borough of Culture is a chance to really bring amazing cultural activities to people's doorsteps and to reach those that don't or can't access the wider London offer and make sure that all of us have a chance to participate. So I think when we started talking to colleagues and friends across the city, UK and Europe, the phrase communities of culture came up quite a lot. And I think we felt that an essential ingredient of this programme is to consider how we increase access for all Londoners to take part in culture, breaking down barriers and building bridges, not walls. Have we had that somewhere else before? And to really place a greater focus on the social value that culture has in bringing people together, creating cohesion, building confidence and hope, and encouraging people to value and understand the local identity of their communities and their places. So this is a chance to put communities at the helm and to let them take the lead, a chance to work with communities, to test out and try some new models of working, to really think about co-creation between communities and artists, and to broaden the discussion around definitions of culture. I think we all get quite tied up in what we think culture is and has been, but actually we need to start looking forwards and think about what it's going to be in the 21st century and work with our young population to develop ideas around that. And I think through the programs, you might want to consider your local character and identity, ensure that your activities are firmly rooted in your local places. Storytelling, it's such a powerful way of communicating who we are and what we stand for. And we really hope that you'll develop some cultural programs that are rooted and reveal the stories of your local people and places and help to build the new histories and link communities in London with the communities across the country, because we all have similar stories to share. And for the borough, this is a chance to really think about step change, to really think about how you work across your departments, to engage everybody, all of your colleagues in these discussions and in the planning for your cultural programs, and think about how culture can help more widely to deliver your wider local priorities. It's a chance to maybe to map the infrastructure that you have and the needs of your communities, to consider how culture can support growth at a local level, and to really look at the impacts and the legacy that you can deliver through holding this title. And I think it's a chance to reveal a different face, maybe, for your boroughs and your places, a chance to encourage discovery, to throw a spotlight onto some of the great local arts, culture and heritage that you have or that you invest in that's under the radar often, that people don't hear about or know about, and encourage people to understand more. And a spotlight on your local gems, maybe you've got some quirky museums or some great local pub theatres or lesser-known stately homes or iconic green spaces or caves or canals or amazing places where culture happens, but maybe the wider population of London haven't kind of quite engaged with that yet. And finally, I just wanted to say that we don't expect boroughs to produce a year-long programme, but rather to develop a program that is deliverable and realistic, as well as ambitious. So you might want to think about how you manage a program through the year rather than feeling like you have to do something every day or every week. And also, some of the programs will start in 2018 and build up to the winning year, or maybe run later, or you might use the funding to simply amplify and add value to some of your existing programs. So I'm just going to skip on to the actual award. Sadiq mentioned earlier some of the figures, so I'm just going to drill down into them for you. So there's going to be 2 winning boroughs of culture, one for 2019 and one for 2020. Each of those winning boroughs will receive up to £1.1 million from City Hall in partnership with the City Bridge Trust. We will also have a fund for exemplary projects. So this will be for an additional 6 projects maybe from about half a dozen other boroughs, the ones that don't win, where we see some brilliant programs that we would love to support. But to qualify for those exemplary projects, you do need to put a full bid in. You can't just skip it and go straight to the exemplary projects. Funding-wise, so the Mayor is putting in £2.5 million towards this programme, and the City Bridge Trust have committed £300,000. We've also received commitments from Paul Hamlin and the HLF to work with the winning boroughs to develop programmes that meet their criteria and that can be delivered within the time scale. And we'll talk more about that later on the funding panel. And I wanted to just add that the Mayor is really committed to making this programme as successful as he can. So we will be exploring more funding opportunities and sponsorship once the winning boroughs are revealed, so working really closely with all of you. And we're also talking to artistic organisations and foundations about some bespoke projects which would be funded by those foundations, which would be rolled out with the winning boroughs, piloted. And so there'll be more about that hopefully in the new year. The other thing that we as a team have been doing over the last 9 months is building creative partnerships. So the Mayor is really committed to seeing some of our big cultural organisations spreading their wings and working more out and about in the city. So we're developing some core project partners, again, who have got some amazing projects they would love to work on with the winning boroughs. And again, we'll announce those in the new year. And additionally, we've got lots of cultural organisations, artistic organisations that have put their hand up and said they would love to be part of this. So again, once we know who the winners are, there's a chance to maybe make partnerships with some of them. And in the prospectus, you'll get a flavour of some of those partners and who's committed to the programme. Timelines. So we've launched the programme today, and as the Mayor said, you've now got 5 months. The deadline is the 1st of December. We hope that you'll work closely with your communities, your cultural sector, your local businesses and private sector partners, as well as local services, to identify how the London Borough of Culture can help you to achieve your vision and local priorities. The timeline is up on the screen. It's also in your prospectus. So the deadline will be the 1st of December, and we'll make an announcement in February for the winning boroughs. Just a note to say that we know that the local elections are coming up next year, so do keep an eye on that and think about how to manage that within your application process, because that's something that we'll need to establish quite carefully before we announce the winners. And just in terms of decision making, to be absolutely transparent, all of the applications and bids will be scored by GLA staff across the building. Our Strategic Partners Board will feed in their recommendations to those bids, and the final decisions and approvals will be made by the Mayor himself. So, just quickly to skip through the criteria, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it's all outlined in your pack, but just to say there are 3 sections of the criteria. And I think in the very beautiful prospectus, which you have received this morning, lovingly prepared by my colleague Coral and the design team here at the GLA, we've set out a range of criteria. So the 3 key criteria are celebrating creativity. So in this section, this is really for you to outline how you're going to be bold and ambitious, how you're going to do some amazing programs at a local level, how you're going to retain an authenticity to your program, and how you're going to make sure that everyone across all of your communities can be involved and take part. The second criteria will be about making an impact. So this is very much the journey that you want to take. So it's about explaining what this journey is going to be, where you're at now as a borough and where you're heading to. We know that every borough has a very different starting point, and we want to go on a trip with you, and we want you to take us into the new territory that you want to explore, and explain to us how this journey helps to create real tangible change, step change in your borough. And our final criteria will be around deliverability. So we need to know that you're going to be able to do this, that you can deliver what you're promising in your application. We need you to explain how you're going to manage it and how you're going to govern the programme, how you're going to find the match funding. We've set out in the prospectus that we expect you to find 25% match funding for your applications, and this can be a combination of internal funding from the council, partnership funding from your local partners, or some fundraising that you plan to do. And we want to see how you're going to embed this. We don't want this to be a one-off. We want all of you to really embed this cultural programme in your long-term vision so that we can see that it continues to make an impact on your communities. So the top tips coming out are really make sure that you build some strong partnerships across all different sectors, not just the cultural sector. Make sure you establish joined-up working across your council. It's really important. In order to deliver this, you have to work together. And put your communities at the centre. Make sure they have a voice and that they share their ideas, and hopefully bring some inspiring projects to the fore. So is it for you? You might be thinking, we've gone through some of the plans. So we think that London Borough of Culture is for any borough that can make a compelling case for why they need this and how it can help them to deliver their local priorities. It's not designed to reward a borough with loads of cultural activity and organisations and a vibrant scene. As I mentioned earlier, we recognise every borough is very different and has different starting points. And we want you to tell us this journey you're going on and how the title can really help you to achieve your goals. So if you think you have loads of arts and culture to offer, if you don't think you have loads of arts and culture to offer, maybe this is a great time to kickstart this journey. This is a great project that can really help you to think about what this might look like for you locally. And if you've got loads going on locally, maybe this is a chance to step back and look at how to grow, develop, and innovate, and really think about where you go next. So just to finish off, what's coming next? So over the next 5 months, the culture team here at City Hall will support all of you. We're here to help. We want this to be amazing. We want you to keep in touch with us. There's a few ways that you can kind of connect with us. So first of all, check out the online program. You will all have received an email this morning with a link to the prospectus, application guidance notes, FAQs. They're all online now, and they're there for you to go to as a resource. Also, all of the talks, panels, and speakers will be recorded from today. So they'll all be online next week so that you can go and you can share those with your partners if you need to. And as I mentioned earlier, the research report will be published in July, so you'll be able to access that. Secondly, there'll be an engagement program. So you'll be able to plan one-to-one surgeries with GLA culture team members, and we'll be in touch with you to let you know how to do that. We'll also be briefing the Arts Council and their relationship managers so that we're all on the same page, and they'll be able to provide you with some support and help as well. In the autumn, there will be some more engagement events. So there'll be, there's going to be one workshop, which will be around evaluation, which we know is definitely going to happen. We're working with the Audiences Agency as our evaluation partner, and we'll lead a session that we would hope all of you would come to, so you can really think about how to evaluate these programs. And there'll be some other events as well. We also, in the next week or so, will be launching our advisors program. So what we are doing is we are providing you with a number of days of support with an expert. So we will send around a list of amazing people whose time you might want to take up. Maybe 3 or 4 days of their time, potentially. That will be paid for through funding that will be distributed through London councils. So all of that will become clear. You'll all get information. All the boroughs will get information on that. And we hope that you take that up. But also, if there are other experts that aren't on that list that you want to work with, feel free to, again, let us know, and we can make sure that any costs associated can be covered. The final way that we're providing support is there'll be regular e-bulletins. I think that everyone from the boroughs has signed up now, so keep an eye on those. And check your junk mail, because sometimes they go to junk mail. And we'll also be facilitating partnerships, obviously, with cultural partners where that's useful and necessary. And just finally to say that our online portal will go live in the autumn, and so that's where you'll be submitting your application. So we're hoping that that will go live sometime maybe around October, so you'll be able to start submitting your applications. So that's it from me. Hopefully that's given you a clear overview of kind of where we've been coming from on this programme, some of the practicalities. As I said, we're here to help you, to support you. Please contact us. Don't be afraid to ask us for any help or advice or thoughts. We want this to be amazing for all of you, and we wish you all the best of luck with your bids and your campaigns locally. So have a great summer of discussion, and we'll see you again in the autumn. Thank you.
Chenine. I hope you can all hear me. Can you all hear me on this mic? Yep, good. There's now the opportunity to ask some questions. Yes, and also could Coral come up as well and take part in the question and answer sessions? Can you join us? So now you've got the opportunity to ask some of the things which aren't in the pack. We're going to take questions for about 10, 15 minutes. Then we're going to have a short performance, and then it's going to be lunch. And I'll go through the lunch arrangements later. But for now, take the opportunity to find out more. Ask the GLA experts. I'm looking around. Who would like to ask the first question? Lady over there.
So my question really is whether you'd be open to boroughs putting in bids together or projects within bids together across boundaries.
Can I just ask you to say who you are and where you're from as well?
My name's Judith St John and I'm the Divisional Director for Culture for Tower Hamlets Council.
We're keen for boroughs to work. Can you hear me? Is this on? We're keen for boroughs to to work together if there are specific projects that might cross over. But I think the Mayor is really keen to have a borough title. So in 2019 we will have a borough title, and in 2020 the same. So whilst we're really supportive of collaboration. There might be some projects that do overlap, and we want to look at this programme as a way for Londoners to kind of travel around the city and see the joining up. I think that the bids would have to be one lead bid from one local authority.
Next question.
Sorry, Julian Rudd's Remarkable Productions. Just in terms of the bid process, so will the applications for 2020, for example, be open this autumn, or will that have to wait until the following year? How will those awards work?
So the applications for both 19 and 20 are in the same process. So for the next 5 months, the bidding process will be to announce both the 2019 and 2020. But through the application process, you will have the opportunity to state if you have a preference for 2019 or 2020 or either. And we will take that into consideration when we're assessing.
Paula Murray, Borough of Croydon. I just wondered if there might be the opportunity, or are you thinking about some kind of potential big marketing initiative that might cover a range of the different things? I mean, I understand there's the 2 titles and then the 6 additional awards. But if we're all looking at kind of planning for 19 or 20 or both, might there be the opportunity for some kind of overarching marketing initiative that's London-wide in terms of cultural highlights for the year?
Chenine?
I would say that in the discussions we've been having so far, and nothing's tied down, we're probably... Oh, is it not working? Sorry, can you hear me now? Is that better? Not working. I think probably we want to put the focus onto the winning borough rather than the campaign, if you like. So we would work very closely with the winning borough to make sure in that year we amplify everything that they're doing and give them as much attention as we can, rather than, talking about London Borough of Culture, because in that year, there will be a winning borough, and so it's all about them, and all of our attention will focus on them for that year. So that will be the campaign.
The questions? Gentleman here.
Hi, Andy Thomas from Lewisham. I'm just wondering if you anticipate the bid just being a text-based application, or might there be other ways of expressing what we want to put forward?